Om Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kansachanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Om. Adorations to Lord Krishna, the preceptor of the universe, destroyer of the forces of darkness, and bestower of immortality. Om Shri Krishnaya Namah. Srimad Bhagavad Gita, in chapter 4. Chapter is entitled Yoga of Wisdom. And therefore, you have no suspense left. Topic is, what does wisdom looks like? How does it feel like? If you have wisdom, what will you be? First point we should understand that at present, if you are not enlightened, you don't know who you are. You are wandering and wondering and worrying and worrying. Okay, without the play of words. Yadrichālāva santushto dvandvātīto vikpimatsarah samah siddhāva siddhaucha kritvāpīna nibadhyate. If one is satisfied with whatever comes to him without his egoistic effort, and is beyond the pairs of opposites, is also devoid of jealousy and balanced in success and failure, then even though he performs actions, he is not bound by karma. First point to understand, why should you have wisdom? Wisdom lets you be free of karma. Do you want that way? You have to try to understand that. All things in life you attain as a result of your effort, your karma. All things that you are so proud of, you have been led by your karma. And that karma, you want to completely dismiss it. I will not give you any suspense. Let's go into the... That karma process is not your goal. Because karma, being confined to karma, you are in a terrible predicament. There is ceaseless cycle of birth and death. People generally don't have idea about the past, what your soul, how many experiences the soul has gone through. And your mind has to open. You didn't come out of void, zero. So, you have gone through experiences like what you are experiencing now. Million times. Million is still little in the vastness of the universe. Is this satisfying to you, to go on and on? And no matter how amazingly miraculous success you may attain in the world, lot of popularity, lot of power, lot of pleasure. But all that being transient, all that being like mirage, your dear soul has shed countless skeletons chasing the mirage. And in that project, your dear soul has taken with itself many dear ones. All endearing relations, they are all involved with chasing mirage. That's giving the third-class view of the world. But at all times, there are souls that are operating in an advanced level. And there are souls that have attained enlightenment. They don't need satsanga. So, now to understand what are the characteristics of enlightenment, what you are really looking for, what are you going to promote. Yadrichha labha santushto, first point. Whatever occurs, whatever occurs in your life, whether it is negative or positive, first point you have to understand is you live in a world where things cannot be completely under your control. You may have settled everything about you, all ducks put together. But suddenly news breaks, hurricane is coming. And there are many, many types of news. So, you have no security. And you don't have to wait for a hurricane. Your body itself has lots of news to give to you. So, how can you become settled? Simple point to understand. Therefore, do not live on the basis of your expectation. From practical point of view, expectation is there and you can't dismiss it. If you are going to travel, your expectation is there, the plane must come at a time, that you should have all these things arranged. All that is perfectly in order. But deep in your heart, all this should be viewed like waves. And your heart level, you are the ocean. If you have come to that level, that state, that's enlightenment. You can attend to every detail without being egoistically involved. Or you may act like as if you have renounced everything and yet be gripped by gross ego. These points will become clearer. Yeah. So first point, when you are performing your duty in life, Enjoy the performance of the duty. Don't wait to enjoy when your work has brought a success. If you are a music student, enjoy practicing music. Enjoy singing your songs day by day. Don't count the days that I'm going to enjoy when I get first class first in my examination. Subtle point is, if you are enjoying your duty well, and how do you enjoy it? Profound way. Consider your whatever you are doing as coming from God. God has allowed you. Understand, all your inspiration comes from a deeper source. Your whole body itself is a miracle of miracles. And that you should not forget. That God, which has given you eyes that look, ears that hear, which has allowed you a little head, and has put a website in it. That God is behind your activities. In every action, try to understand, it can be aham prerit, ego dictated, or it can be Ishwara prerit, God inspired. There's a big difference. And that difference you will understand if you follow the path of sadhana. How do you feel the difference? Ego-prompted action, even before you start doing it, causes perspiration. You already exhausted all your energy. How can I do it? There's so many negative forces, there are so many negative things. I'm not sure whether I have read all my books. What type of question people may ask? What type of examination I have to give? I'm just giving a broad way to understand. The ego creates a whole burden, and the mind becomes a donkey. All the burden comes in a load over your mind. Now, you don't enjoy your life. To relieve yourself of that load, what you do? You divert your attention. Attention to loads that are being experienced by others' heads. That's what news does. God-inspired action, it comes easy. Your whole personality begins to operate in a profound way when you are doing things that are good to you and good to others. In the beginning, think of doing good to others more than you're thinking of yourself. I'm just saying, not take it literally. You have to be healthy in body and mind yourself. But your whole mind should not be just involved in looking at your own nose and eyes and ears. You should allow a sense of delight in being able to do good to others, encourage others, all things that you want to develop. Try to promote in others as well. You want to be free of troubles, diseases. If you could help others according to your status. You want to be free of stress. You want to live a life of harmony. How can you? And that again is a matter of heart movement. It doesn't depend upon quantity. You may not sit back and say, oh, I would have helped people, but I don't have anything. I will not lead you to that extent. But now coming to the yadrichha labha santushto. You continue doing your duty. And whatsoever situation builds up around you, a situation builds up, situation of amazing success. Feel joyous, serene, don't become elated. And if the situation becomes challenging situation, try to understand there is a divine purpose behind it. From very childhood, you have faced challenging situations. As a child, you had no capacity to complain. But every time you got up, you had to fall down. But whom to complain to? Stay a child in divine hands. And understand, if He has permitted a situation that doesn't seem joyous to you, but requires your patience, it requires your self-effort, and it requires your talent. And when you put all this together and you emerge successful, then we realize, of course people don't realize so much, but if you are sensitive aspirant, you will realize that how gracious it was for God to give you adversity. Figure that out. Keeping all this in view, one continues to be serene. Yadrichha labha santushta. And the word contentment is very important. It is one of the 4 gatekeepers at the palace of liberation. It's allegorical. And what are those 4 gatekeepers? First is serenity, shama. Second is santosh, contentment. Third is vichar, inquiry, who am I? Fifth is satsanga, good association. All these 4 qualities, they are interrelated. They are not 4 different things. But an aspirant should Because in the early stage, all these four look like four different things. And as long as they look like four different things, work upon it. Go after shama, serenity. One day practice serenity. Next day practice contentment. Third day practice vichar. Every day practice satsanga. And try to bring it in your daily life as much as possible. Sometimes you succeed, but not to the extent that you had expected. Sometimes you may succeed in allowing your mind to be calm and inspired, in an inspired state, but it lasts for 20 minutes, or maybe 1 hour, maybe 3 hours. It comes and goes. Even in this state, even in this situation, stay calm. Do not vex your mind. How is it? I've been practicing for a long time. And now a little sattva came into the mind and became sattva. It became a ground flower. In other words, it blew away. Dandvatito, the second point. Do not be shaken by pairs of opposites. You live in a world where there are pairs of opposites. That time when you become extremely cold, time when you are exposed to extreme heat, and that's physical pairs of opposites. Psychological pairs of opposites, they don't depend upon weather condition, no matter whatever the weather. You experience pleasure, pain, praise and censure. You find amiable people giving you good advice and allowing you to have good feeling, praising you for whatever you are. And then that type of atmosphere does not stay. You want those people to stay with you all the time. But they are all linked up to their own karmic process. And sometimes you face people, even very close range people, closely related, and they begin to scold you, point out your mistakes in a very ugly manner. And sometimes they impose something negative on you. So all types. But if your mind has not been well disciplined, then even if someone imposes some negative quality which you don't have, then why should you react? Someone tells you have no nose. You simply move on. But someone is pointing to you, and you look within yourself that, yes, this I didn't know, and this person has pointed this out to me. Then you should have a sense of thankfulness. And if someone is finding your defect just for revenging upon you, just for hurting you, because the person has developed the idea you are an enemy, do not follow that example. People around you are sick. That's why they have come into the hospital, the world hospital. Your attitude should be hospitality. Negative characters try to stay back, try to understand what makes them so negative. And minimum thing you can do is to pray. Sabko sanmati de Bhagavan. Oh God, give good understanding to everyone. So, dealing with dvandva, pairs of opposites, is done by a mature understanding. And you are not shaken. Another point to understand, when we say not shaken, don't take it literally. If you are not shaken, you are not a healthy person. You need a psychiatrist. Being shaken is being flexible. Exercising your flexibility and enhancing your flexibility. Not a rheumatic condition. Be shaken, but don't be broken. If that becomes possible, you become strengthened at your root. That's how the trees, the philosophy of the trees, as they go on shaking, they draw more nourishment from the root. If they don't shake, they have very little possibility. So, whenever you hear these great qualities, you have to understand in a proper way. It doesn't mean that you become literally unshaken with all pairs of opposites. Another point to understand, we call avastha and sthiti. If you are shaking, but you have the possibility, flexibility to move away from the shaking situation. So no matter how much you shake, it is called avastha. Avastha is a state that moves, that is changeable. Sthiti, that's what is established. A tree is established. It's not moving from one place to another. But the branches moving this way and that way. The branches are going to different states. The tree remains firm. So your whole personality with its root is firm. But your mind will be flexible. In some situation you will show displeasure. Some situation will show pleasure. In some situation you feel inspired. Some situation you little perspired. But at a deeper, maturer level, all this is just ripples. While you are in a deeper level like ocean, all these are waves. Vimatsara. Matsar, that's where from that matsar comes machar in Hindi language. Machar is mosquitoes. You go to sit in the garden by a beautiful lake, everything is wonderful. But there comes a swarm of mosquitoes singing. They want you to listen to their song. They go into your ears. I don't need to tell you more details. Jealousy plays the same part. In every situation, there is a positive situation. Someone has attained success. And so many people are praising the person. But now, you are also joined and seeing so many people very happy. But your heart is burning. I should have been the one. I have done the same things this man did, and he has gotten all that recognition and I am not. What can I do? Now, you use your foxy intellect and start telling people close by, look, that person is not that good. and you have the possibility of creating certain things that will bring infamy on the person. You can always pick up from life, from previous so many days, so many ways people act. And there isn't anyone who doesn't have something that you cannot finger point, it's wrong. So, if you do that, then what happens? A wonderful celebration of happiness, and you end up with creating negative karmas, holding in your heart mosquito bites. Therefore, in mantra japa, the way you hold the mala explains. You hold the mala on and operate all the beads. Thumb is your soul. These three fingers are the three modes of nature, sattva, rajas, tamas. Thumb and the three fingers go together and you operate the mala. This finger stays relaxed because this finger does finger pointing, and that is not allowed in your devotional movement. So, another point, you gain a lesson from your own hand. When you finger point, three fingers point to you. So what are you seeing? Defect in others, and three fingers pointing three defects in you. In other words, finding defect in yourself and correcting it, That's a constructive job. But finding defect in others, which itself is a kind of delusional. If you are led by jealousy, you are looking at someone's good quality as a negative quality. You are moving in a very wrong direction. And that becomes a disease that creates disharmony, dissension, and terror in society. So no finger pointing. No finger pointing, no jealousy. Then how will you handle those who are becoming very successful? By following their footsteps. You email a letter to the successful person. I admire your success. Can you tell me the secret? How did you do that? I want to be also successful, like you. When you develop that type of relation, those who are succeeding, they become more inspired. They don't find any difficulty in helping you to advance. And sometimes very successful ones can inspire you to be so successful that you can go even higher than the person. And in that process, there is absolutely nothing negative. A mother sees a child advancing in quality and every way and going beyond her. There is nothing, it's inspirational. So try to understand, in that process of spiritual competition, there is no room for jealousy. There is room for constant joy and expression of love. Samah siddhava siddhavcha. If certain project you have taken up and your project has succeeded, then it's called siddha. You have become successful. You took the project, but due to various situations and circumstances, you didn't succeed. This should not cause grief. In brief, all that you look into yourself, you did everything possible. Now, O God, in your hands. What I had to do, I finished. You should have stayed too quiet. And whatever I did, you did it through me. So if I didn't succeed, that's you. This is your will. All these great qualities have to be admired and with great patience bring in your life. Even if you bring a little trickle of these qualities, your life becomes much more saras, joyous. But if you don't have these qualities, you are living a needless life. No rus, no joy, joyless. And more terrible, sorrowful. gat sangasya muktasya jnanavastita chetasa yajnayacharata karma samagram praviliyate. For one who is liberated, whose mind is firmly established in wisdom, who is absolutely detached from the fruits of karma, and who acts in the spirit of sacrifice, all karmas dissolve along with their fruits. These are very condensed writings, and therefore I have to strengthen myself. For one who is liberated, whose mind is firmly established in wisdom, who is absolutely detached from fruits of karma. This point has to be understood. Fruits of karma create change in your personality, change in everything around you. Any change it implies you are existing in the world of illusion. Reality cannot change. Truth cannot change. But you are putting yourself in a status of constant change. Karma brings changes. And when you become free of karma, that's the goal of life. Karma bandhan, the bond created by karma becomes completely destroyed. So if there is no karma, there is no rebirth, no embodiment. The sun remains the sun. No more entering into the buckets of water. In order to attain that state, first stage is be detached from fruits of karma. Fruits of karma will bring pleasure, pain, adversity, prosperity. How can you be detached? If adversity has come, do not allow your mind to sink in dejection, sorrow, or become addicted to sorrow. All that is not the remedy. Adversity has come. Be guided by people who can inspire you. Continue to follow your faith. Grace of God works miracles. So adversity must be faced by you with your spiritual, Godward movement. And when you do that, and adversity, and you survive adversity, you emerge free out of adversity. You are like the moon shining brighter than before. Prosperity gives you another challenge. And sometimes challenge of prosperity is even worse than the challenge of adversity. Prosperity makes you ego-inflated. So inflated that it becomes like a cancer. And if you develop a spiritual sensitivity, you do not allow yourself to be gripped by vanity during prosperous conditions. So be detached from fruits of karma. Most highlighted message in this verse is, perform your actions in the spirit of sacrifice. Sacrifice term is, just to give you a simple way to understand, think of anger. In scriptural stories, anger becomes an animal, an uncontrolled bull, or a donkey, or a hog. And capturing that animal and sacrificing in the fire, that is the picture of doing religious rites. To the masses, they take it literally. But I'm not going after them. That's they're dealing with their non-vegetarian taste. But sacrificing anger requires 3 S. Suppress, substitute, sublimate. When you do not let your anger overpower your mind, you delay becoming little procrastinator. And while you procrastinate, put your mind to a positive direction. And then what happens? The anger itself, that energy has moved away. And you have found a type of understanding that doesn't require being angry. Now you are in a better position. So this is sacrifice. You have sacrificed anger. And anger has become love. You sacrifice egoism, and that becomes humility. You sacrifice cruelty in you, compassion arises out of it. When all the gross sentiments are gradually being dissolved, and divine sentiments arise out of it, see sacrifice, glorious sacrifice going on. That type of sacrifice is called yajna. Let me give you one point. When we talk of asakti, attachment, there are different types of attachment. Attachment to fruit of karma, called phala asakti. Attachment to your body. Attending on the body is perfectly okay, but being attached to body means you are day and night involved with how you look, how you sit, etc. Because deha sakti, and the idea I will not go into details. So Deha Asakti. Another Asakti is Kutumba Asakti. You find yourself a cozy atmosphere with your near and dear ones, and you don't want to disturb it. But then your own dear sons and daughters have their own way of going. So Kutumba Sakti, the attachment to family creates a lot of problems. Then Vastra Sakti, attachment to clothes that you wear. Alankar Asakti, attachment to ornaments that you have. Seva Sakti. Seva Sakti. You did certain good work to a group of people, and you become attached to that process, even those group of people doesn't want it. So there are many shades of asakti. And all that should be handled by you humorously, not being too much, because behind all your body there is a divine miracle. So with God within, Godward movement handles all these. But you allow your feet to move according to your vision of self-effort. And self-effort becomes easy when it is not ego-impelled, but God-inspired. But between these two, there are many stages. Sometimes you may think it is inspired by God because your own craving pushes you fast. So you have to correct your mistakes. And with this I am concluding. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.